Okay, sorry, I'm just getting everything going here. Let's see. Okay. And there we go. Sorry. My various cameras here. Okay. So I'm just going to wait a moment here. Welcome to Community Yoga Narada, which I'm calling Community Breathing and Tension Release. I'm Michele, and this is Belle. And we're just going to focus on releasing and breathing. And, this is a great way to kind of into developing a technique in how you approach yoga. If yoga is something you feel you want to get into or start to practice or even deepen and just focus on a different aspect of how you connect through your movement. This is a little bit more of a fluid approach. We're not holding things. We're just finding a nice sense of opening and expanding. In this class, we're doing the beginning warm-up series for Yoga Narada class, which is a much more lengthy, almost like a 2-hour class. There's a whole standing and breathing sequence, which I would love to get more into, especially as we get into winter. I think that's a wonderful way to get a lot more energy and heat, invigoration into your body. So we're going to definitely work towards that. But we're just using the best approach to connecting and feeling and breathing while we do these gentle, more simplified types of movements. So we'll start to sort of build on that a little bit with the breathing. I was doing a little bit more through the hip motion and that and such, and I think I'll still go in that direction. And then in October, I'll do the whole month of October with a chair series, just to let everybody know what's sort of on my mind. So with all of that said, let's come down into a nice comfortable position on the floor, as Belle is demonstrating here. So you want to try to just get into a position where you can feel relaxed in your legs. We can cross the feet like this, or you can bring your feet out into that nice diamond shape, relaxing here. If you want to be in this shape, even if you have little pillows, maybe not yoga blocks, I think they're a little bit too much, but like a little bit of pillow underneath your thighs, or if you're sitting up on a pillow, that will relax your legs a little bit more. So we want to bring a sense of comfort into the hips and the lower back here as you're getting into position. So we're just going to find a sense. We're trying to locate our sitting bones. So we're just going to take a nice little, we're shifting a little side to side, but this is kind of like getting everything out of the way so that the bones can drop more freely. And you can really find a sense of alignment there, releasing through the sits bones. So just do a little bit of motion side to side to just sort of sort things out to get into this position, or whatever position you're in, even if you're on a chair, still doing this, and then just ending up nice and relaxed in the center. Now we're going to try and find a sense of a plumb line from the crown through the tail of the spine, feeling that sense of dropping down. We're going to use our breath to help release and feel that energy drop down, feeling that the back of the neck, the jaw and the chin, everything sort of goes into that alignment and releases downward through gravity. And we want to bring that sense of release all throughout the muscular and soft tissue along the sides of the spine. So the breath is helping us do that. We're letting the breath, we're using our breath to help that release come through. So you're starting to figure out what you need to do, which may be a little bit of a shifting. Maybe you shift a little bit back over the back edge of your sits bones. Maybe you shift a little bit forward. We all so we're using the alignment in the base of the spine and our pelvis to feel a sense of suspension and ease through the posture throughout the rest of our spine, all the way up through the crown. So let's also, with that in mind, try to relax your shoulders, feeling nice and relaxed through the shoulder blades, and letting the ears and the neck release here. Also checking out the jaw and the chin. If you feel comfortable, let's take the palms and just gently rest into the crown of your head. You're not trying to push down, but we're just feeling our shoulders, the weight of the shoulders is out of the way here. And we find a nice sense of awareness through that plumb line. We're bringing more focus into that. And then we're just going to let the breath release. We're going to focus on our breath. You can let your eyes close if you like. We're going to let the breath drop down into the base of the spine, into the base of the pelvis, letting your breath deepen and elongate. Starting to just bring your focus internally to yourself and release and sort of suspend and let go of any external thoughts or tensions, anything that's sort of clouding up your mind and sort of getting in the way or sort of on the surface bugging you for its attention. We're just going to let everything take sort of a little bit of a back seat with all that. And just start to feel a sense of awareness with our own body and trying to let the breath come inward. And as that breath comes in and the awareness becomes a little bit stronger, you'll feel a sense of ease through your alignment, hopefully. And then we're going to release the palms and feel that lightness release through the crown of the head, letting that openness come through. And then we just take the arms to hang down, relaxing over the legs, over the knees, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then again here, let that breath drop down into the base of your spine and your pelvis without your hands there. We'll let the focus come through again, same idea. And then using that energy we feel at the base of the spine and pelvis through the dantian area, we're going to take the palms together and focus on that breath, but feel that that breath is also coming up into the surface of your palms as we glide in between the palms and feel a little bit of friction and energy, relaxing through the fingers here and just finding that sense of breath and openness. Feeling that you're drawing the energy inside your body that's sort of starting to wake up out into the surface of your hands. And then still using breath as a focus, let's take the hands apart and feel that nice energetic buzz in between the palms. And then let your breath push the palms open. We want to feel that we're spreading the breath through the palms out into the space around you. So feel that you're swirling it and moving it as you breathe. So the breath inside your body is giving you a sense of support as you move and explore. So you don't have to follow what I'm doing. You're just breathing and moving. Use this as a sense of sort of yawning and untangling, feeling that you're just sort of working through all those little soft crevices. You're gently breathing them open and just kind of feeling out where you're at today. Being nice and gentle, not trying to push into anything. We also want to become aware of expanding into the space up above, down below, around the side, behind you. And then from here, we're going to reach out through the palms, gathering energy from the space around you, taking that into the hands and over the eyes. We're just going to sense that over the eyes, into the face, and then just breathe and wash around your face, over your eyes. So we're relaxing the face and breathing into this nice flush of calmness that we're washing through the face. And then from here, we're going to take our fingertips into the brow bone. Using the breath, we're going to exhale and just take a nice carving, pressing from the inside to the outside with a nice little lift up into the hairline. So we're going to exhale, feeling that openness, massage above the eyes and up. And exhale, opening around and up. And then using our index fingers, we're going to go under the eyes along the orbital bone. Breathing along that bone, giving yourself a nice openness through the sinuses. Follow the bone so that sweeps you up around into your hairline again. Breathing out. So your breath helps you release into this really nice sense of openness and calmness, and just feeling a little bit more relaxed and sort of grounded without all of that frenetic energy coming through. And then we're going to take our fingertips to the forehead, and now we're just taking a nice little scrubbing motion, and just feel your breath. This is a little bit more friction on the surface of the skin, but we're just breathing out and scrubbing up and down. And then coming around to the outside of the eyes, the temples, very light circular massage here, just gently moving the skin around a bit. And then taking your fingers, continuing down in between the upper and lower jaw. So now you can relax your bottom jaw a little bit open, or you can only relax your bottom jaw open. So we're going to relax the jaw to let it hang a little bit. Now we can use our fingertips to go a little bit deeper. You can actually palpate the tissue around that area on your body. So we're just sort of exploring. And when you feel this, this is a big tension area, the jaw. Let's try to find a sense of that breath that travels through the fingertips, releasing and feeling that we just expand and open around the whole area that we're massaging into. And now we're going to come up above the ears into the scalp, and we're taking a nice lifting, scrubbing, kind of like you're washing your hair motion. We're feeling a sense of lifting up above the ears, decompressing around the ears, finding that lift and openness. And we're making our way, working around towards the back of the head, and then gently feeling that lift as we get to the base of the skull through the back, still sort of an upward lifting motion there. And then we find that nice little point, that crevice where the top of the spine and the head meet, and that's the occipital area. We're going to massage into that, a nice little lateral massage, breathing into that and going from the inside close to the spine and making your way wider out towards your ears. And then we're coming back in close to the spine. Now we're going to take a circular motion and relax. Try to relax these muscles as much as you can. And just breathe and make your way down the back of the neck, following the line of those muscles until you've reached the tops of your shoulders. And then we're going to take our fingertips back over top of the shoulders, and then take a nice exhale, sweeping and massaging and releasing and shaking off the fingers and the tension out of our hands here. So we're going to go back again, take a nice long exhale to sweep and release, shaking it off. And again, going back and exhale and sweep it off, release. Now from here, we're going to feel that sense of breath from the center, from the midline, from the base of the spine. We're yawning internally, lifting up and yawning from the base, lifting. We're breathing and wiggling up through that line. So this is the breath through that midline of our body, the center midline, giving us a sense of balance and alignment. No matter which way we move, that bright, vibrant line is always guiding us, right? So it doesn't matter even what your alignment is doing acutely in different parts. If you're just working through that center energy, everything will just kind of fall where it needs to. We're going to come back through center. Let's keep the fingers interlaced. We're going to let the arms drape down in front. And then just feel your shoulders relax. We're going to get this nice little swinging motion going through the arms. Our shoulder blades, the scapula, are moving a little bit. We're going to sweep around. Find that nice wide pokey elbow. Now just breathe through the side ribs. Feel like you're breathing the ribs apart or open. Exhale over the other way. We're hanging. Relax the arms forward as you roll under to come around. We're going to find that long tail reaching down through the floor to come up. Exhale over and around and forward. Inhale. So in between our ribs, we have this nice webbing of tissue, our intercostals. And we're just sort of breathing and feeling that mesh-like expansion with our breath, opening it more. And now we're going to go the other way. Exhale and around and forward. Find your elbow to poke up a little bit. You're making space to breathe through the ribs up. We're going to exhale side and roll forward and around. Take a nice inhale as that elbow comes through to bring you up. And exhale and around and forward. Inhale and up. Now from here, feel the breath through that midline energy, lifting you up. Everything is working towards into that midline to stretch and yawn through your body. Separate the fingers and feel that energy through the midline, breathing and circling the wrists and the palms and the fingertips, or just breathing and massaging, opening the hands and letting the arms float down until we've reached this nice hang, feeling that the arms just drape from the chest open, and then finding that release a little bit. So now we're going to take the feet out in front. We're going to just find that nice release here. So we're going to yawn from one side of the body to the other. Let's bend the left knee, let that knee hang open to the side. Your right foot parallel and your right arm, this other left hand's going to go back behind you. We're just going to yawn up over the tail. And again, breathe through your midline, opening the leg and the arm from the breath in the midline, and then release and change. Inhale, your back palm gives a little bit of help. So the breath is your leader, but the palm just gives that little boost over the tail to feel that little bit of a deeper opening in between the joints, breathing and opening, release and change. Finding the breath through the midline to yawn, open, and release. So that top arm, we're looking for a place to hang the arm from the bottom of the shoulder blade, the scapula. So we want to feel that we're utilizing that openness underneath the scapula to release and open underneath the arm. Giving our whole shoulder girdle a nice massage into that alignment and change. One more time, breath lifts you up. And release and change. Now we're going to take both arms up and we're circling the arms, wrists and ankles. We're breathing through this and feeling that nice sort of tentacle breath opening. We're making our way all the way down to eventually relax the arms on the floor, relax your legs apart as much as you need, relax your head down. and just see how far your spine lets go. So you want to just let the weight of the head flow through a release throughout your whole spine. So even here, everybody's different. Sometimes there's a little bit more tension than we need. So use the weight of your head, and we're going to breathe out through the nose. You can breathe out through your mouth if that's too much. Try to breathe out through the nose and drop your head a little bit with your breath. So you're coordinating a release of the breath with a release of the head. And that, the nerve line through the exhale in your nose trickles through the back of and along the spine a little bit more. So we want to feel that release comes through. Your breath can be nice and gentle here. It doesn't have to be anything big or manufactured. And then we're just going to relax and hang. We're now going to use the weight of the head to sway and breathe. So the weight of your head is leading. We're turning into a nice old rocking elephant here. We're getting into that feeling of breathing through the bones a little bit more. We're sort of letting the breath penetrate through the bones, feeling a sense of heaviness and gravity. Let this rocking and shifting grow a little bit, and it starts to peel you up off the floor from one side to the other. So we're feeling that nice little rocking, shifting in the sits bones and feeling the weight in the sits bones. So try not to lift them. Let them feel really heavy, really heavy. Now the breath through the abdomen. We're going to lift one hip up and walk backwards. So we're lifting up and walking back along the floor. Use the breath through the low belly to shift through your hips. And that is helping you drag your legs along the floor, feeling that there's a nice sense of breath through the low back, the sacroiliac joint. So we're sending the breath through that. Now, as you get further back, we're going to reverse it by coming forward. So now we're kind of using our sits bones like feet a little bit more, where we push down to lift the other hip up. Actually, I should say we push down to release the other hip up and over. So we have that momentum from the pelvis through the hips that just sort of trickles down and out through the legs. And then we're just going to hang over, release. And now we want to find a nice draw down through the tail of the spine. The tail draws down through the floor as the breath comes in and up through the front. So we feel that nice loop down through the tail to send us up, and we feel a sense of internal sort of sparking lifting as we drop this down. Keep going for that as much as you can until you get all the way up, and then we let it go a little bit. So now we're going to use our fists, and now we'll just get a little bit more momentum with the breath. We're going to drum into the sacrum. You can give a little bit of a scoop through your low abdomen just to kind of feel this exposing through the back body a little bit more, opening wide. So we're drumming all right on top of the sacroiliac tailbone area. Go into your glutes, get a really nice breath release. And so now you're really focusing on letting your breath really travel through your hands. We're going to work our way up the sides of the spine and back down again. So maybe if your breath was feeling stuck, this actually gives you a really good sense of letting it go a little bit more. And now we're going to come right down into the back sides of the hips and just let the fists kind of bounce off of the backside hip area, getting that sense of breath and release here. I might be annoying Belle a little bit, I don't know. And now we're going to alternate. So from one side to the other, dropping from the back of the hip and sending that tension and tightness we feel back there down the leg out through the toes. And then we're going to open the palms. So we feel the heels of the hands nice and loose. Now we do a nice little fluffy motion around the sides of the legs where the IT bands are. We're going to scoop and fluff and make our way all the way down. And eventually we're reaching right up above the knees here. So right on the attachment zone, we're going to make our little fist and fluff above the knees, around to the inside, going right over top if you want to, just kind of releasing any tension or tightness held around the knee joint. And now we take fingertips tapping right into the kneecap here, a nice vibration through the bones, feeling that nice little internal spark through the bone structure, waking up, because it's not hollow. Now we're going to travel down the shin bones. Same thing. That shin bone is nice and prominent, really close to the surface. So we want to feel the breath travel through the shin bones, really waking up the alignment and our awareness into the lower legs, all the way down to the ankles if you can, and traveling back up the shins again. And then from here, we're going to take the heels of the hands, we'll lean back and take a nice flush through the quads here. So breathing out, lengthening down from the top, from the hips, from the hip flexors, flushing all the way down to the knees. And you can get a really good massage here, following that length along your femur bones, your thigh bones. So now, and go a little bit to the outside, a little bit to the inside. And, you're going to feel like it's lumpy because these muscles cross one another. So there's, that's normal. And then we're going to just take our hands, the fluffy motion, loose hands, around the outside of the shins, the peroneal areas. And we just want to kind of bounce and breathe off of them. You can move around a little bit, right where hopefully, if you've ever had shin splints, you know where this area is, but we're just kind of letting that release and open up, freeing up the alignment between our knees and our feet through our ankles. And then from here, we're going to take our feet back in wherever you're comfortable. It doesn't have to be really close. So just let your knees hang open, use the tops of the hands. And now we get a downward inner thigh release. We're flushing down through the inner thighs towards the floor, releasing with gravity. And we're going to find that release along the inner thigh line, the adductors, towards our knees. So we're getting a nice let go, a nice flush through, coming all the way down. Of course, you're going to feel it more towards the knees. And now from here, we'll flex through the heels. We'll feel slight engagement through the calves. Take your fists and we'll start dropping down into the calves with your exhale. So we're going to breathe out, letting go. So, and if this is too much, of course, you can go lighter, but let's try to find that sense of, just letting the calves release, stretching our calves. Sometimes the calves get really tight and it feels really good to stand up and do a nice vertical stretch, right? But shaking them like this, side to side, laterally, gives a different sense of letting them go. And then, whatever else you do standing up or whatnot, that can be more effective. So now let's focus. We'll take smaller drops. We're just doing smaller drops on the calves and sort of towards the lower part of the calf, where you would get, there's the soleus is at the bottom of the calf. And then if you keep going lower towards your ankles, that's our Achilles tendons, right? So we just want to kind of shake all that up, releasing any tension and tightness in there. And then from here, let's take the palms back behind. We're going to do a nice shake out on the floor, releasing. You can do a nice little wiggle in your tail, shifting in your hips and your shoulders. Make sure you're not holding any tension. And then we're going to hold one knee up. So take the right knee up, take a deep breath in. Think of that energetic midline energy going through the legs, right? A continuation. We're going to exhale, feel a little gathering in the low belly. Then let the leg go, bringing the other knee up. So there's this flush that comes down and out along the floor. We gather and exhale. So be careful of pounding the back of your knee on the floor. Let it glide and elongate and release into the floor. So I'm not sure with the camera and with the sound, it might even sound louder than it really is in real life here. So, and then again. Now from here, we're just going to relax and let the legs hang. So we're taking a little rolling in and out, letting go, letting all the muscles go. We're just shifting and moving through the bones. There's a little tiny tap through the big toes that comes through here. Think of this as just letting your hips go and your hip sockets. We're just letting that free up a little bit, loosening up. And then we're going to bring the feet back in. And now we're going to start to focus on the feet more, feeling that we're breathing into the feet, taking some nice ankle circles, just sort of rolling around, breathing into that. So even just, I think, like the past couple of days even, the weather is really nice still, but I definitely feel the approach of fall stronger, right? So now we're going to relax our feet on the floor. We're massaging into the inside heel under the ankle bone. You can give a little bit more of like a digging pressure in here because a lot of tendons in here, ligament tendon tissue. And we just want to kind of free that up. So it's a little bit more of a vigorous approach, we'll say. But of course, it has to feel good. So whatever feels appropriate and good for you is what you're going to do. So you can feel out your own body with this. And, if this is really sensitive, then you can go much, much lighter. So I'm sure maybe even doing this gives us doing this kind of work. Now we're going to massage underneath the feet, mushy, 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 getting really deep, relaxing the feet and going into the arches more. So as the season changes, our body starts to shift and change, right? So just keeping all of this sense of openness and release so that we can maybe adjust more easily. There she is, the show off. Belle. Dogs are they don't need to do anything because they're just yogis, So now, anyway, it's always perfect alignment, perfect energy, whatever. So now we're gonna come up underneath the balls of the feet, and we're just gonna kind of massage underneath there, getting a nice little flush, where the joints are underneath the toes here. And then let's take our hands underneath. We're gonna hold space in between the toes. And we want to feel a sense of space, like we have a nice little froggy foot, spreading out wide and breathing. Our feet are breathing open and relaxing with this space in between our toes. And then gently releasing out of that. If you ever want to wear even toe spacers for this kind of class, that would probably be nice. Not this, just soft ones, nothing too aggressive. Now let's take the hands back behind. So there's a nice little scoop under through the tail, hands behind. The legs are gathering into that midline energy. Feel that your legs gather from the outsides of your hips. So it's coming from the pelvis and through the tail of the spine to gather your legs. So you just don't feel like you're squeezing the inner thighs only. We're going to feel everything draw into the midline as we exhale, roll through the feet. We're walking. We're going to use our toes to pull the heels up and over. So we create this doming and exhale, sending the energy all the way down and out through the toes. And we're feeling that rolling through. The arches are melting and expanding into the floor. Especially if you have high arches, just let them go. Actually, you'll feel them release and sort of wake up deeper maybe. Now, as you've gotten too far away, we're going to reverse it. Toes go up and over, that nice dome on the top of the feet. And then again, melt the arches as you drag your heels back, up and over. And you're breathing through the feet to draw back, up, over, and breathing through. Now let's go forward one more time. We're going to exhale. Feel the breath from your belly all the way down and out through the tips of the toes. So we're sending that connectivity through the center of our body as we breathe through the feet, creating a nice sense of awareness and openness through the tips of the toes. And then just relax, let your legs hang and shake out again. We're going to bring the feet back into whatever comfortable position you like with the cross or with the diamond. I'm going to change my feet this time. And then we're finding that nice lifting up of our chest. We're going to use our hands to just take a nice massage up and around the sides of the ribs. So we're going to inhale, feel that nice expansion like a balloon. And exhale, release. And again, breath comes in. And release. So we're actually flushing some lymph around here, just kind of moving this softer tissue around our torso. And then we'll come down a little bit lower, right into the groin area, to the front of our hips. A little bit more lymph in there that we can move and shift and breathe into. And then we're going to come up right into the center of the chest, into our sternum. We're going to take a nice little up and down, a little exhale, scrubbing motion, releasing any tension that you probably didn't even realize was being held here. And now we're going to take our nice sweeps down from the ribs all the way down into the pelvis, just going right through that midline. And then we'll take that around underneath the ribs on one side, breathing and flushing through, coming back through center, and underneath the other side, just getting a nice sense of openness there. And then we'll come back through center. We're going to relax the shoulders and the arms, let the head hang over, and just start to massage into the front of the shoulder with your opposite palm. So we're just breathing and letting that go. Again, you can really kind of move stuff around here. We want, and also release a good amount of tension. So you can explore, go all around. You can move your head a little bit if that feels good, letting any tension go that stems through the neck into the shoulder. And then just relaxing and changing to the other side, just kind of checking that out and moving around, breathing through it. You can feel like, again, the breath is traveling through your fingertips and you're giving that sense of openness and awareness that feels nice and soft and released into the chest and the shoulders. And then we're going to come back through center. And again here, feel the breath travel through your hands. We're going to exhale, your opposite palm drops up and over and release over. We're going to breathe out and again change. So we're letting the palm gently drop up and over, and I'm feeling a sense of expansion and awareness through the upper back, getting a sense of that the lungs are all the way back up there. That might feel sort of different, right? So there could be a sense of, that's a little congested, and I guess maybe my lungs could be congested, or not congested, but they could feel, if your muscles are tight around them up there, they could feel a little bit more constrained. But we're just trying to get a sense of relaxing and opening through that area, just to let the body work a little bit more easily. And then just relax. Now we're going to feel the breath from the base of the spine draw us up. Everything's going to gather on an inhale. Soften first. Let the tail drop. Like you're sort of yawning and taking off a shirt. We're going to inhale, yawning up. Feel the tail go down as the breath comes in and up. That internal lift brings you up. And then we're going to exhale, release the arms. And then just feel the energy suspend you up as you let the arms go. Let's go again, softening the tail. Let the breath bring you in and up. Gathering and lengthening, feeling that energetic tail go down and letting go. One more time, softening the tail, breath comes in. So we find this extension of length as the breath comes in, and we keep it as we let go. and then soften and let it go and shake. So we're just letting everything release. Exhale, shaking it off. The shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, all the way down into the hands and the fingertips here. Getting a nice sense of letting go through your head and your cheeks if you want, just kind of whatever feels good there. And then from here, getting that nice kind of fuzzy feeling, especially down low in the forearms into your hands and fingers. And then here we're going to interlace the fingers and do a nice little compression release, just moving around and breathing some space in between the fingers. And then gently relaxing in the wrists. We're going to gently massage and roll around. So we want some momentum to build and the breath to release. Don't try to make this happen. Just let it, it's an untangling. We're just untangling the tension and letting it filter out just with this repetition. And then we're going to come back the other way. It's a little bit of a brain body challenge there. So we want our body to respond in both directions, even though our nervous system makes that choice for us on the first direction, right? A little bit of a waking up on the other side of the brain, maybe. And now we're going to take the hands together, slightly pull apart, and we're just going to feel the breath from the center of the palm. We're going to inhale, open, and exhale, squeeze. Inhale, expand. So the fingers are opening from that center of the palm. So, which is a different quality, a kneading quality, than if you were to reach your fingers out and pull your fingertips in, right? So that is using the distal points, but we're feeling the center of the palm and in. It's totally a different feeling all around. Neither of them are wrong. They're just different possibilities. And now from here, we're going to use this as we breathe from the pelvis to expand through the body. So we're going to let the breath come in, expanding up. Just feeling nice and open and lifted. We're going to take a nice long squeezing exhale through the low belly first. We're going to exhale, squeeze and empty all of the breath out. We're going to squeeze the fingertips, the toes, the eyes. Keep scooping and squeezing, breath out, breath out, breath out, breath out. We're compressing and shifting and sort of cleansing anything we don't need in the body anymore until we don't have any more breath left. As the breath comes in, feel that lightness floating you open and expanding up. And then we squeeze it out again. Exhale, fingertips, toes, eyes. So we're compressing and emptying all of the breath out. We're squeezing out anything negative, physical or emotional, using your breath to push it, just sort of helping it push out of the body, making space for new energy. Let the breath float you up and open again. And one more time, exhale, squeeze. And on this last one, we're going to exhale, but this time gathering light new energy through those distal points, fingertips and toes. We're drawing that new energy into the center of our body, enveloping it, feeling nice and spacious as we take it in, and then letting the breath release the arms up and just release, shaking off anything that was kind of hanging out there. Now let's take our hands and interlace behind the head. At the very bottom of the head, rest your head into your palms here, relaxing the jaw and the chin, relaxing. Don't worry about if your elbows come forward a little bit. Don't worry about that. It's fine. Just relax your shoulders. Feel like you're standing against a wall. The tail of your spine drops down through the floor. We feel the back of the head, breathe in and back into the palms, giving you a sense of elongation. It feels longer and more open. Feel, and we're expanding wide as we're doing that. Like you're standing against a wall, feel that you breathe into the back of the body. Let your tail lengthen even more to feel a sense of letting go through that lower lumbar. It's still probably going to have a nice natural curve, but we're not holding it. And then just feel that breath sweep up through the back, through the palms, all the way up through the crown and opening out, around, and down. So now we have a nice sense of that back of the body supporting our posture, nice and long and nice and open. We're going to use that. Keep breathing into the back body, but open your eyes and very gently look with your eyes around the room. So we want to see everything very gently and like you're sort of seeing it for the first time and you're curious and there's a lot to look at. And then we're going to use the breath. Feel that you still relate from the back body, coming all the way through the eyes. You're scanning, looking around to the other side of the room. So we're keeping this sense of length and tallness working inside as we start to relate to the outside world, right? So we're going to use the breath again. Now feel that your vision expands through the walls. You're going out through the space that you're in, letting your vision open even more, giving you a sense of calmness that connects from the inside further out. And then again, breath brings you back one more time, finding that sense of expansion and openness, feeling nice and soft and relaxed through your vision. And then letting the breath bring your vision just back through center. We're going to take a deep breath. Feel in the inhale, we lift and gather and hold the breath up and compress. We're going to squeeze our eyes closed. Try to keep your throat and your shoulders feeling nice and relaxed and open. Try not to pull them up as the breath comes up. You want to find the breath from down here pulling up. We're going to inhale. And just hold it a little bit until you have to exhale, gently opening the eyes. Little blinks. And now we'll take nice little sweeps around the eyes, over the face, like you have little cobwebs you're just clearing out from whatever's left over. And then we'll take our fingertips, lightly tapping all around the skull, feeling that sense of breath travels through the fingertips here. And then we're going to come to the back of the head, a nice little sweeping upward motion, feeling nice and long and tall. Now on this next part, if this is your first time doing it, you might want to watch. We're going to kind of shake the head from side to side. But now, we want to feel that, again, that breath through the back of the body. We're going to look side and side. So we're getting a nice little, like the second vertebrae release here. So we're going to go side to side. Relax your jaw. Let it hang open a little bit. Start to spot a little bit with your breath. So you're going to just release the breath and look side to side and keep it going until you find a comfortable momentum that just gives you a nice little release. And then slowly let it come back through center. So you try not to stop very abruptly on that. And then right into the center of your head here, suture sagittalis, we're going to start close into the front of the hairline. We're just going to push down, slightly pull apart, and let go. And a little bit further back, push down, pull apart, let go. Right at the crown, down, apart, release. Just letting that soft opening come all the way through. We're going to come around onto our hands and knees. Now here we're finding a nice alignment between our shoulders and our hips and our hands and our knees into the floor, quadruped. So make sure, just give a little check into your shoulders. Make sure your shoulders aren't lifted up towards your ears, but just relax them down and take, kind of like we did with our sitting bones, a nice little side to side shifting. So in this shifting, you're going to feel that you make a little bit more of a plumb line down into the heels of your hands. Now with the tail end of your spine, we can even relax the feet out, feel almost like you may be touching your heels if that feels okay for you. And now we want to find a nice long feeling through the tail, not pulling it up necessarily, but getting a softness into the fronts of the hip sockets here. So the hip flexors are not holding you and rounding your tail under, right? So we're letting the tail of the spine lengthen so that, and you probably already feel that your chest starts to open, right? So the tension in your low back greatly affects your chest and your upper back. Now so everything's related all the time, but you can start to correct that if it's really stuck, especially by working in your pelvis into the base of the spine. So we're gonna feel the breath come in and up the abdomen. Try not to move, we're not changing the shape of the spine. Feel the abdomen scoop in and up without any bones moving, lifting. Now we're gonna exhale, just let the abdomen go with gravity, hang to the floor. You might see my body respond like slightly, right? So we're gonna feel the breath, the abdomen comes into the spine and up. And exhale, let it go. This is our impetus for movement in the spine. The breath through the abdomen comes in and up. Now we're gonna let that continue and round the back. So the back body is breathing open. Let your head hang down. You can use your palms to push on the floor a little bit, which sends you a little bit backwards to round your tail under, and you feel your lower back breath expand. Now we let that soft release come through. Let the breath come through the midline. Your tail unravels to bring your chest through and up. Now we're gonna lift our heels, tuck our toes under, and exhale, little bend in the elbows. Feel that your tail slightly pulls backwards. So you kind of like a happy baby where you get nice creases in the front of your hips. Now we're gonna come forward. Sorry, I have a little something going on here. We're gonna come forward, release the feet, find the breath in the abdomen first. The abdomen moves your spine around and up into a curl. Let your head go. Just take a nice exhale and push into the floor. Feel again like you're against a wall through the back of your body, expanding and breathing wide. Don't worry about the curl, the apex. We're just opening wide through the back from the sides of the vertebrae with our breath. Feel the breath come through the midline. Release, unravel the tail. As the tail unravels, the chest starts to ease through the shoulders. That long tail helps us lift the chest up. We're gonna lift our heels, tuck our toes under, take a little gliding back in the tail, a little softening in your elbows, and just breathe through the tail, opening your chest. One more time, coming forward, release your feet long. The breath, find your impetus internally. The breath rounds your back. And then you just keep breathing into that expansion of opening wide. So it doesn't matter how far you go. It's what you feel and how you're connecting with your body, right? So we don't have to mimic. We want to feel this is sort of your meditation for yourself. And now we're going to let the breath bring us through. Feel that nice unraveling through the tail. Find the space through your tail to open your chest through and forward. Lift your heels, tuck your toes under, and a softening in the elbows, and draw the tail back just a little bit. Now we're going to come forward onto our hands and knees and take one foot back behind you. So tuck your toes under. Make sure your hip's not doing anything funny like hiking up on the side. Feel like your tail is long again, right? So your tail is gonna glide your back heel away along the floor. So your whole foot through your heel, through the calf, through the back of the knee is opening. Let's change feet. Feel a sense of that midline energy. So you're feeling that you're connected through the center of the body. So your body is just unraveling as you repeat. The repetition is what untangles. We don't have to fix. We just feel that we relate and release from the center out. And then again, feel that long tail, relate and glide your back heel away. And then come in. You're going to start to feel that your hip kind of lengthens and lets go behind the knee, starts to breathe open here. And then come in. We're going to take one more. Find that breath to expand. So this is a very nice, healthy way to stretch, right? So we don't have to pull and tug and brace. We're going to tuck the toes under, push back and hang your tail. If your knees are okay to do this, like a little monkey hanging over, drop your tail over your heels. Now you can, and let your head go. Let your arms hang over the knees a bit. Again, that nice crease, release in the front of the hips while letting go of the low back. Let your tail and your head go and you can do a little bounce with your tail just to kind of check it out. My heels, I feel like they're a foot off the floor, but if your heels drop down to the floor, let them go, basically. And just feel that release. You can use your hands to slightly shift a little bit forward and back, and your body weight with gravity will start to open and release through the ankles and the feet into the Achilles, and that feels really good. Now we're going to take our hands close to the toes. Taking a deep breath, we're going to scoop the belly, push on the floor to stretch your legs. We're going to straighten the legs and push and stretch, lifting the tail up. So now you can separate your feet a little bit. Even if your knees need to bend a little, that's okay. We're going to hang over the hips. You can shake through your knees a little bit, releasing in the hips. And now we start to, even if you need to bend a little, find the body weight shift into the back of the heels. You might be a little bit more forward on the balls of the feet. If you even soften your knees and drop your tail back over your heels, you can create this nice hanging effect that lets your lower back go. So whatever feels good to you, but let yourself adjust. Try not to force. Now we're going to bend the right knee. Let the body hang over the right knee, but shift your body weight, straight leg hip over the straight leg heel. So you can even push on the floor or on your leg, wherever you need to push into to feel that you're going to feel a nice stretch through the low back hip area. Relax and change the other side. The left knee bends and this shifts your hip over the straight leg. And we're just going to push. There's a little scoop in the belly as we shift and change. Hanging over the knee, we're going to exhale and shift and release. And you just kind of keep kneading through this, breathing and shifting and opening. And it feels kind of deep, right? It's in the joint. We're releasing through those attachment areas. Now let's come back through center. Let's take a nice hang. Again, you can soften the knees and draw your tail over your heels, or you just, whatever's comfortable with them stretched. See if you can hold onto your elbows and hang the head to release through the upper back and the neck. And just breathe into that for a moment, letting the head, neck, and shoulders go. So you're sort of hanging upside down. If your body starts to sway a little bit, that's fine. Try not to make it do anything, but try not to hold back either. Just, we don't want to fall off balance here, but we just want to feel that the body is breathing and releasing and opening. Now the breath, like we did on the floor, is going to come up through the abdomen. That's our impetus. The abdomen breath lifts to the ceiling. We let go of the elbows. Now the breath through the abdomen keeps lifting up, breathing into the spine. So we get a nice roll through the spine. We lift the tummy up, up, up to the ceiling, and that allows our tail, we have space for the tail to drop down as we're breathing through a roll up in the spine until we come all the way up. Now, as you come all the way up, you're going to feel that nice loop energy again, where the tail energy is going down and out along the floor behind you. And with that tail releasing down and out, there's more of a sense of that internal in and up. So we're just fine. And there's an opening in the front of your hips probably coming through. So we just want to let that come through, and then everything starts to trickle. We start to find that release in the front of the chest. We start to find that openness in the shoulders, balanced over the heels. Check out your feet. Are you holding tension in the balls of the feet? Feel that you, again, breathe through the arches, expanding into the floor. As your feet expand and let go through the floor, then your body starts to align and trickle up through the chin, the jaw, and the chin. And then we're just going to take a deep breath in, roll the shoulders up, and exhale, release. Now we can squeeze the fists, inhale up, and exhale, release, open. Inhale, squeeze and up, and exhale, release. Now we're going to soften the knees. One more thing, interlacing the fingers, turn the palms forward. Your tail goes down through the heels to send your palms up. Even if you cannot stretch your elbows all the way, that same energy through the midline. Breathe through the center of the body. We're using that to untangle through this length. Your tail's going down through the floor as you reach up. We're going to shift the hip over to stretch and breathe. Long tail goes down through center to change, and the tail shifts over to the other heel and up. Breath through the center. Exhale, tail to bottom heel and up. And exhale, tail through bottom heel and up. Now find the breath. The tail, the sacrum draws down through the heels to reach you up through that center line. Keep breathing through that center line and just let the hands separate, floating open, feeling that sense of openness from the center of your body out. And then the arms relax and the shoulders release. And if you like, you can just take a nice walk out. And as you're walking, hopefully feeling a sense of length through the tail end of the spine. So you don't feel like you have to walk in front of your body, but you feel a sense of just like a nice open, like you're being propelled forward. So it feels a little bit more natural. So yes, excellent. So we kind of went a little bit more mushy today, but I wanted to start to bring more attention to how breath really penetrates through our movement from a very basic level, and then that just endures, it builds and it expands and it deepens, right? So your breath can get more deeply engaged in your body and stronger. But then, sort of for other purposes, as how that expresses outwardly also changes. So it's sort of that ebb and flow constantly. Anyway, I really, really enjoy all of that. And sometimes when you're doing a class or whatever, if it's more vigorous, that's also wonderful, right? But you don't have time always to get into the nitty gritty like this. So I feel like this complements whatever else you can do, and you sort of bring it wherever you like. So thank you very much. I guess I'll say happy fall-ish. So if anybody has any questions or comments, let me know. I will be back again next Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern time. And so I guess I'll do one more week next week, kind of like this. And then we'll start bringing this to the chair for seated stuff through October. And then November, we're going to work on standing and breathing. So sort of that's the plan. All right. And of course, Belle is already in constructive rest mode here. There we go. Yes, she is the meditation expert. All right, thank you. Bye.